Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Todd Humphreys. I am the cybersecurity go-to-market leader here at WEI. We got an interesting discussion for you guys today. This has been a discussion we've been having internally amongst ourselves and with a lot of our technology partners. We're going to talk a bit about how to secure, deploy and secure AI at scale today. Um, I want to point out that this is not don't think of this as another sort of whiz bang shiny object AI discussion. In fact, this discussion, a lot of the premise here is that doing AI successfully and securely is hard, and we're going to talk to you about some of the challenges that you might encounter, and hopefully offer you some solutions by the end of the discussion today. So we've assembled I think it's a dream team for this discussion. A number of folks here that have been in this industry for a long time who I think can speak very coherently to the challenges around deploying AI securely and at scale. Mark Gilmore and Paul Barnhill are from Cyberify, one of our services partners here at WEI. These guys go back a ways in the industry. They've ridden a number of big technology waves in the past. I know Mark in particular was at Cambridge Technology Partners years ago, helping organizations deploy applications by using a lot of sort of organizational approaches to that problem. Both Mark and Paul were also at Cloud Technology Partners after that, similarly helping customers get their arms and heads around the journey to the cloud. And coincidentally, they were acquired by HPE, a number of years ago. Jaydeep is from HPE. I want to comment that HPE is one of WEI's most important partners, probably our largest technology partner. We are very committed to HPE's vision for AI in the enterprise and have made some strategic investments around their PCAI technology. And Jaydeep is really the subject matter expert in that area at HPE. And then we have our very own Matt Leal. We hired Matt because of his unique skill set before AI was even a glimmer in the eye of a lot of our customers. But it just so happens that his expertise does lend itself very well to fit a lot of the solution stacks that we're bringing to our customers as they go down the AI journey. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is not easy, but with the proper partnerships and the proper strategy around how to do this, you can be part of the unique 5% of people who are actually getting AI right today. We were thinking about how to do transitions in our discussion here today, and I really felt that this was a good point to hand this over to Mark Gilmore from Cyberify because it's new. It's some sobering statistics to go on. So
Yeah,
Mark,
well,
I'll pass
thanks,
it on.
Todd. Awesome. So, yeah, so obviously, I don't know if everybody else is like me, but if I'm scrolling through Reddit or something like that, I'll see these horrible headlines on things, and I'll just scroll past them and say, "Oh, that was terrible," and just keep moving, right? And one of those headlines that came out was by the MIT Nanda project, right? And so the reality check was, according to them, that only 5% of Gen AI pilots are actually delivering measurable business value right now, which means that 95% of them are failing, not because the models are broken per se, but because they're poorly integrated in the real workflows. What's even more telling in that is in-house builds rarely make it past the pilot stage, right? So meanwhile, externally partnered efforts are 2 times more likely to succeed, right? So we're also seeing a lot of the rise of shadow AI, which I'm sure people have heard about, right? Where teams adopt unsanctioned tools, call it, without governance, oversight, or alignment, right? And this creates risk and also dilutes the value of AI we're trying to take advantage of, right? And then there's the budgeting problem, right? Everybody's throwing all their money towards AI these days without a lot of thought in advance, right? So too many AI dollars are going towards front office initiatives like marketing, while the back office is where the actual value lives. So in finance or risk or compliance, These are where the higher ROI lives, and so that's where we need to shift, right? So, and lastly, there's the learning gap, right? The tools are clearly powerful, but many don't evolve with the business context, and many teams don't know how to fully use them yet, right? So, if we're honest, we're not lacking AI tools, we're lacking AI outcomes. And the real question is how do we fix that? So to answer that, let's ground ourselves in what AI can do when it's done right and when the value, security, and scale work together. Next slide.
Hey, Mark, a couple of things. That one thing
Yeah.
when I read that report, this is Paul Barnhill,
Yeah.
is that, it struck me as this is cloud 2.0, right? We
Mm.
saw the same phenomena with the cloud. And I think what's different now is a lot more money's behind this. The business is behind it. So it's moving at a lot faster pace. So I think
Yeah.
it's really incumbent of companies, those on the phone, us as partners, to sort of support that reality and bring what we learned in the cloud and bring it forward to AI. I think we're going to do a poll now too as well. I don't know if we want to line that up yet, Mark, but I just want to remind you about that.
Okay. Thank you. So let's do let's do the poll now, Kathy, if we can, and see where people are at. So here's the poll for people to feel like they can engage, right? So where are you in your adoption journey right now? You have no active projects, you're investigating how it can impact the business. So we see a lot of people that are chiming in. There's active implementations happening. You're in the investigation process. Great. You have active production of AI. That's great. I can't wait to know more about that. Great. Okay. So this is where it looks like we're at right now. Um, so it looks like there's a lot of investigation going on. There's implementation going on, and some of you actually have active production ready AI going, which is great. Okay, that gives us a good sense of things. Thanks. Okay.
Great.
So let's see. The next piece is a little bit about us, just so you know where we stand. For Cyberify, concentrates mainly in the advisory area of three different technologies: cyber resilience, AI security, and what we're calling cryptographic agility, which is just think post-quantum encryption stuff that's important to financial services. But what makes us really different beyond the technology portion is that we really concentrate on what the cultural implications are of the technologies that we're taking on, per Todd talking about it a little bit before, which is really rather than treating organizational change management as maybe a separate total thing that people would like to look at. Everything we do integrates how it looks on an individual level, on a team level, on a management level, on a leadership level, and the model that supports that. So we're trying to play the Boy Scouts in the cybersecurity world and leave the cybersecurity world better than we found it. So that's what we do. Next slide. Um, so given what we just saw in the MIT study, the high failure rate, the shadow AI sprawl, the misalignment, we need to answer one fundamental question. What should organizations be doing now to change the outcome? And that's what today is about. So let me break that down into three core messages. The first one is AI matters, in case we didn't realize it. It's not hype. It's already transforming industries. It sounds like from the poll that a lot of people are knee deep in it right now. So whether it's creating smarter workflows or accelerating product development or enabling that hyper personalized customer experience, AI is a new competitive baseline. And ignoring it means falling behind, right? So the second part is being late is not a viable strategy, right? The wait and see approach especially doesn't work for the world of AI, right? The pace of change is too fast. The gap between adopters and laggards are widening daily. So by the time you finish observing a competitor's success, it might be too late to catch up, right? So the last bit is everything that we're doing is we're needs to be integrated into your cybersecurity and IT strategy, right? It's AI is not just a productivity tool. It's a new attack surface for everybody. So if you're deploying AI into the enterprise, you need to secure it like any other critical system. That means integrating AI awareness into your infrastructure and your data protection models and your governance frameworks, because without that, you're building on sand, which we don't want to do, generally speaking, right? So today's objective is clear. We want to understand the strategic importance of AI, which I feel like based on our poll, people have a pretty good understanding of. We want to be able to act quickly and intentionally to experiment. And then we want to integrate AI into your cybersecurity and IT strategy. And that's how you accelerate that ROI that we've been talking about safely and securely and at scale. So let's start with why AI matters, not in theory, but in real business terms, right? Across every sector, right? Whether it's healthcare or energy or retail, AI is not just promising efficiency, it's delivering measurably, right? So it boosts productivity through smart workflows and automation, like think underwriting assistance and insurance or meeting co-pilots, in legal and compliance. It helps from a data insight perspective, such as like what, energy companies using AI to forecast grid loads, right? That's critical infrastructure type stuff. Or pharma firms accelerating their drug development, that kind of thing. It empowers the workforce, which we've seen in both secretive ways and not so secretive ways, right? So co-pilots are embedded in the tools we already use, like what Outlook, and I think Jira just came out with one, and Salesforce. So it's helping people to work faster, not just harder, right? So it delivers cost reduction through smarter supply chains and AI-generated budgets and infrastructure optimization. All that exists, right? And obviously, from an innovation perspective, everybody sees every other article is about the innovation that's being trying to be achieved there, right? So it's everywhere, right? But here's the catch, right? Knowing the value isn't the same as capturing it. So, and that brings us to the very real friction organizations are facing. So I wanted to quickly introduce everybody to Jay, who is from HPE, and he's going to walk you through that foundational infrastructure and software opportunities that HPE offers to allow organizations to take this on. Take it away, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. So I think at the start it was well articulated. Producing enterprise grade AI applications or AI-based applications is hard. Anybody can, try to use AI on a day-to-day basis, but if you want to really create value out of an AI-based solution, there are a lot of layers that you have to peel through or put together to realize that potential. So it is not just hardware and GPUs. It is not just patchwork of models and data. It is not just A, B, or C. It is a pretty, I would say, intensive effort to stitch all these elements together to deliver on that value. And what has created even more of a harder to get to end goal is the fact that this whole industry, not just industry, but the technology is moving, right? So if you only look at the last 18 to 24 months, everybody was just taken over by just the generative AI aspect of AI, right? Hey, I can generate stuff. I can generate an image. I can generate text. I can generate essays, and my kids were loving it as well. Then we started to realize, well, I just don't want to generate stuff. I want to generate relevant stuff, stuff that's relevant to me and that uses my data. And my data is not homogeneous. My data can be in a variety of formats, emails, transcripts, database data, ERP systems. There's tons of data. How can you take these AI-based promises and apply it to my data so what you're generating is relevant to me? So that was where these whole RAG pipelines started coming in, and they were being people are trying to implement these. And I think that is probably the first place where people are saying, well, can you get some value out of being able to find a centralized AI application that can talk to a variety of these data sources that are within my purview, and or that is the corpus of data that I have, and produce some insight. And I think that there have been, fits and spurts of success and failure. But now we're in this new world already with agentic AI and this new thing called model control protocol. Some of you may be aware, MCP. Now you have agentic AI where the AI agents are now talking to each other. Well, you have to first create these agents. You have to create these MCP clients. You have to connect them. Then you have to make sure that what you're getting is reliable, it is explainable, it is accurate, right? And not just well, it probably is roughly good. So things are speeding up here. And like was also mentioned, you don't want to get left behind. But where do you start and how do you catch up, I think is critical. And I think HP is at the forefront of trying to help our customers with day two activity. Right. So it is not about, hey, get servers, install operating systems, install virtual machines and Kubernetes, and then tools and framework. By the time you do any kind of AI activity, it is day 280. So our goal is to really get our customers to do these things on day two. So if you move to the next slide, so how do we deliver on that day two promise? So what HPE firmly believes in, and I think we're putting our money where our mouth is bringing to the to our customers a turnkey solution. And what does a turnkey solution mean? It is truly the infrastructure components that you typically know HPE for, right? Your storage, networking, your compute, your GPUs, but you add to them all the middleware layer. This is all done factory integrations. So you have your virtual machines for management nodes, you have connectivity to GreenLake. If you're a GreenLake customer, you have the cloud-based experience powered by Kubernetes. And then we have about 12 different frameworks that are pre-installed, pre-integrated, along with NVIDIA AI enterprise software that is pre-installed, pre-integrated. So you get things like access to the production branch of the NVIDIA published models. You get their blueprints that you can install on day two. You get access to data curator, data validator tools, guardrails. So there's a host of ecosystem or a host of components of this ecosystem that we're bringing out of the box to enable then, whether it is you or our partners like Cyberify or like WEI or like whoever, to quickly develop services and build those applications that you can start using. So that is what we are trying to bring to the market. And to even accelerate that piece, we are providing about 8 to 10 strawman applications out of the box. So we are providing a text summarization. We are providing a text or natural language to SQL service. We are providing a virtual chatbot so that 80% of the work is already done. Now you just have to customize it, make it more intelligent, make it more relevant to your business. And that way you can start to exploit value out of this on day two. So all this is factory integrated, brought to you. It is within your four walls or within the four walls of a colo that you have selected. So we provide this turnkey solution in a variety of t-shirt sizes because we understand customers are, like we saw in the poll, at various stages in their journey along the way, right? Some people are experimenting, some people want to see the proof of value, whether it will really deliver what it promises within their environment. Other people are doing inferencing and now they want to do it at scale. Other people have said, well, we've done the inferencing, but now we want to take this model and customize it. Maybe we fine-tune a model that is already in the market, or we are really doing some kick-ass, ML and AI stuff, and we want to train our own model. So there are a variety of activities that you would do. So what we've said is that why not simply take this approach and make it easy to consume? So the difference between what these turnkey t-shirt sizes are providing is just different horsepower. So the number of servers are different, the number of GPUs are different, the type of GPU is different, the networking is different to support the type of CPUs, GPUs, and the underlying infrastructure. But the software layer is identical. So the capabilities of these systems are not different. You can start with one and it easily applies to any one of them because the entire software stack is available throughout these. And a lot of people have said, you know what, I really want a smaller or a lesser barrier of entry. And we have the developer system is literally two servers, one on the control side, one on the worker side. It's got two GPUs. You can slide it into your rack, into your data center, connect it to your switches. The entire software stack is available on day two, including those applications I mentioned. You can quickly start to experiment and connect to your data. So the next slide, please. So when people so the first thing that, let's say a services arm, right, like a Cyberify, like WEI, they know your business, they know potentially the industry vertical that you're talking about. The first thing they would want to do is connect to data sources, your corpus of data. So we have pre-built these data sources within the system to connect to Oracle, connect to Teradata, connect to SQL Server and Snowflake and Hadoop systems. The goal here is not to bring the data to PCAI before you start doing AI activities, but simply connect to the data wherever it is and use that data with the software tools and the stack that we are bringing to bear. So that is the first barrier that we're overcoming immediately. And should you have some data, I've been asked, hey, what about DB2 as an example? Well, anything that is as legacy as DB2 can also be incorporated, probably not through a GUI, but through a ODBC, JDBC-like connector. We can connect to a large variety of data systems that don't have quote-unquote a GUI to connect to. But the first thing is the data systems. Next. So that takes away a lot of the work, right? You already have the virtual machines, you already have the Kubernetes layer. Now you have the data connectivity. Now you want to do something with that data. You want to look at the quality of the data. You want to visualize that data. You may want to transform that data from one format to another. That kind of stuff is typically done, using some IDE. So whether it's a Jupyter-like IDE, whether it is Visual Studio Code, we provide that out of the box. You can create a data transformation pipelines, as an example, using Airflow and manage that. That's available. You can do data visualizations like you can do with your Click and Tableau, but those are your business users. You don't have necessary licenses for that. We have Superset out of the box. If you continue down that, and if you keep clicking, I'll finish off the slides. It is essentially things like a SQL engine. I want a federated SQL engine in the form of Presto, as an example. So I can query data from my SQL server, my Snowflake, and my Hadoop system, and then make that relevant data available into a feature store, as an example. So a lot of the tools are there pre-integrated, and this is not trivial, right? If you think about it, data access itself is not trivial. Do you do passwords and NFS? Do you do secret keys in S3? Do you do something else in Snowflake? And how does that translate to Kubernetes secrets? And how are their tokens? And how are their service accounts? All we want is AD LDAP connectivity, and we want the services folks, whether they're your folks or whether they are like the Cyberify, WEI of the world, start doing this tomorrow. So all that is pre-integrated. Then we have a host of data science tools that folks can use to create pipelines, to look at a model and look at the hyperparameters, look at the weights, create a model registry. All that is pre-integrated here. And then by no means would we have any credibility if we said that this is all you need. We understand that there's a lot more, right? So we allow you to bring your own tools. So if the 11 or 12 frameworks listed here are not enough, right? You may want something for privacy. You may want a data IQ. You may want a talent. You can absolutely bring it into here because as long as they run on Kubernetes, and most of these do, you simply need a Helm chart and now they can run on us. You can also bring in your own models. You can connect to Hugging Face. You can obviously connect to NGC through our NVIDIA partnership, but you can connect to any other repo. And then if you click in the end, you can add to our model catalog. So we already publish models. So there are about 6 or 8 models or 10 models, whatever are in the production catalog from NVIDIA. We provide those out of the box. So you can choose a Llama, a 7 billion or a 70 billion or a Mistral something, but you can bring in your own models. You can also access all the NVIDIA blueprints. So let's say there are cybersecurity blueprints. You can deploy that literally on day 2 or 3 and start customizing it to see what you want to see. Do I want to do threat rule generation? Do I want to do actual threat detection? A lot of this stuff is now possible for you to do rapidly rather than wait for all this to be put together before you can test out and build that application. So this is what HPE is bringing to this discussion today. And we by no means can deliver this. So that's why we rely on WEI, Cyberify to exploit the value of what we're bringing with the knowledge that they have, with the knowledge that you have. So collectively, you can build that application and hopefully not spend that 95% amount of time, effort, and not get anything out of it. So I'll turn it back to you. Hopefully this makes sense. Open to questions at the end.
Thank you, Jay. That now everybody has a good understanding of foundationally what they can be using from an HPE perspective to get there. Here are some of the obstacles, the 5 most common ones that we see holding organizations back. There's the cultural inertia one, which is, the change resistance. We've always done it this way. Why would we do it another? It exists in every phase we go through from a transformation perspective. The leadership misalignment, right? AI isn't necessarily aligned with to the actual strategy of the business yet, right? Or to the budget, right? It's just a tech pilot, and that's hard. Obviously, we're sitting on top of spaghetti, right? The technical debt that exists. You can build AI on top of that pile, but doesn't always work out as well as you want to. So you really have to have an understanding of that. Regulatory uncertainty in the States, especially, right? We don't know necessarily where we are on that from a global perspective. The EU has come out with some very stringent stuff. Asia has as well, right? How do we mix and match to make sure that we're doing things the right way? And then finally, the talent gaps, which is, do the AI strategy or do the AI people know about security, and do the security people know about AI, right? So it's important that we get this under control. So all these are solvable, right? But they're required to, it requires a shared understanding of both the risk and the opportunity, right? And most importantly, we need to start seeing AI as something that can be secured at the system level, right? So next slide. That's where we'll introduce. So we're going to weave security into our AI efforts. Next slide, Kathy. Thank you. Perfect. Right. So we have this thing called the from, of, and with resiliency framework. So now that we've talked about the top obstacles, from cultural inertia to talent gaps, let's reframe the solution, right? At Cyberify, we developed a resiliency framework to help leaders make sense of the AI risk versus opportunity in a structured way, and we call it from, of, and with. So if you walk away with anything today from the Cyberify portion of this, think from, of, and with whenever you're thinking about security, right? So let's break that down. Next slide. So this is where most of your headlines exist, probably, right? So AI being used to generate convincing phishing, malware or misinformation. These are all threats from AI. You know, deep fakes and synthetic models for fraud, prompt injections, or LLM jailbreaking to sidestep controls. All these things exist. So in the threats from AI, we focus on understanding and defending against the external threats that leverage AI as a weapon, right? Next slide. So I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead a little bit because we're going to run out of time. So, sorry, I just lost my place on my talk track. So, let's see, we're at of because I skipped. Now I'm a little, there we are. Okay. So this is about trusting the AI systems we build and buy, right? Just like we secure applications, APIs, and cloud infrastructure, we must also secure models and AI pipelines. So this includes preventing data poisoning, right? Ensuring model integrity and provenance, governing AI use and ensuring auditability. So without the protection of AI, we can't necessarily trust AI outcomes yet, right? And then on the next slide, we talk about defense with AI, right? So this is where the opportunity lies, right? We're using AI to optimize security, in this case, through behavioral analysis, anomaly detection, ML ops for red teaming, and more. I think we're seeing a huge influx of different players in the space, both the old players that were there in the beginning, plus new players that are coming on to and bringing their sort of thought leadership to the story, right? So why does it matter, right? You can't address these things in isolation. So the best, well, not the best, but maybe the most secure organizations are defending from AI-based threats. They're protecting the integrity of their AI stack and using AI with the intent to enhance their cyber capabilities, right? And that's what makes this a resiliency framework, not just a risk framework. It's about thriving securely in an AI-driven world, right? Now, next slide, Kathy. All right, so now we're going to turn it over to Matt, and Matt's going to walk us through how WEI helps to fill that gap.
Yeah, so I think before we jump into sort of my content, and I know we're racing against the clock here, we did have one more poll, so I want to make sure we get that out there as well. So Kathy, if you want to start the poll, kind of going over what Mark just mentioned.
Okay, so of the from, of, and with AI security domains, which is in the forefront of your mind, right? You're allowed to say all, by the way. That's the fourth one we didn't put. Great. Okay, so it's we've got a lot of people thinking about of AI. With AI is a lower percentage, it seems. And then from AI, I don't blame anybody for thinking about that all the time, right?
This probably has a lot to do with the title of the people responding to this poll.
Yeah.
I would think. Good deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like you said, Mark, there is no right answer here. We should probably had a fourth response for all of the above.
Yeah.
It's usually always the right answer, I've found.
Exactly. Yes.
Great.
All right. So yeah, so hi everyone, Matt Leal here, pre-sale solutions architect for WEI. I won't go too far into my background, but I do want to point out that prior to coming to WEI a little over 2 years ago, I did work for HPE, primarily as a data center compute solutions architect. So I was designing compute systems with some focus on high performance computing. So that's kind of how I've got into the whole AI space, was through designing at first, some of the big data analytics and big data platforms, and sort of studying the reference architectures around those, and helping some of my clients at the time deploy those sorts of systems. Sort of naturally led and bled into more traditional HPC, and which is all sort of a precursor for what we are doing today around machine learning, deep learning, and artificial intelligence, and then into the more specific disciplines within AI around generative, agentic, and physical AI, and other applications as well. So what I want to talk about briefly today is some of the AI offerings that we have here at WEI. Like many of you, responded earlier, we too at WEI are also sort of gearing up, and we're still sort of working through where WEI has its place in this AI landscape. So there will be more to come. But what I want to share with you today is sort of the unique ways that I've seen sort of firsthand, ways that we've helped customers progress along their AI journey, we'll say. So first, we'll touch on one of the things that Mark mentioned, which was around sort of the talent gap or the skills gap. So some of you being existing WEI customers, you may already know, but WEI has a traditional staff augmentation practice where we're primarily focused around recruiting and placing IT staff. However, we found and identified that an area where organizations are needing our help in finding talent is in this AI space. So finding qualified machine learning engineers, AI security specialists, and machine learning operations specialists is one of the areas that we can help. And one of the sort of unique ways through our staff augmentation practice that we can help is through our established apprenticeship program. So this is a sort of a structured program where we're actually recruiting people who are early in their career that are looking to go to work for big companies as a machine learning engineer, as a AI security specialist, and we develop co-jointly with our clients a curriculum of different skills and potentially project-based work that our clients are specifically looking for. And this can be anywhere between a 6 to 12 months long apprenticeship program where we continue to develop these resources. And I'm happy to share with you that at least the last time I checked, this program has a 100% success rate, where we've actually placed the apprentice with the company that they've gone to work for. It was a very successful program, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it here. So not only on the traditional more IT staffing, we are starting to get into some of these more AI focused roles. So if there's interest there, always feel free to reach out. And again, I'll mention that these are through temporary placements or temporary to hire, or through the apprenticeship program. Again, these are all avenues that we can bring talent, and augment your existing teams, right? And the reason I'm pointing out sort of the temporary nature of it is kind of the overlapping theme of this presentation has been, some of the risk involved in investing in AI projects, and this is just one of the ways that you can help reduce and manage that risk without having to bring in, a full time employed team of AI engineers. So next slide, please. So one of the, sort of the bread and butter of WEI's service offerings is around, designing, architecting, and deploying and integrating infrastructure. So alongside our partners at Cyberify, we can continue to consult and help plan through the design of AI and where we can perform pilots or POCs. Again, this is going to help measure performance, and then and it's valuable as an input when we go to optimize and design and determine what a scaled out version of your AI infrastructure may look like in the future. Again, kind of going back to what was Jay talking about earlier with PCAI. which t-shirt size is going to be right for you. That's something that we can help determine here within our lab at WEI. And maybe it's just getting your hands on a developer kit. That's another way that we can help. So when we look at infrastructure for AI and what's running AI workloads, obviously you can draw a lot of parallels to more traditional high performance computing systems. And again, this is an area that WEI has decades of expertise in integrating and deploying via our white glove level services. But I do want to point out that AI infrastructure does have some uniqueness to it. There are specific elements, GPUs, DPUs, and some of the the high performance networking technologies that are involved in building these, specifically around training AI models. If you're not familiar with these paradigms, it can be sort of a rat's nest to kind of untangle. And there are plenty of reference architectures out there, but again, this is an area that I've seen firsthand. Organizations sort of stumble. You typically only get really one good shot at getting this infrastructure right, and you want to get it right on the first try. So it's a large investment to build one of these AI training platforms at a large scale. So again, it's important to partner with the likes of Cyberify, HPE, and a partner like WEI is going to be crucial to the success. And as we saw from the study from MIT, you're working against the odds. So next slide. So I'll try to be brief here. I know we've got 10 minutes left, but something that we see very often within AI projects is, and like I mentioned, which is the overlapping theme of this presentation, is that projects often fail in the transition to production. You'll have a successful AI project in the lab or in a POC, but when we try to scale to production, that's when things tend to fall apart. There's a number of causes, but one of the big ones that we've identified is having that a lack of automation and orchestration and building a strong AI and machine learning ops pipeline for continual improvement and retraining of models. So again, this is one area where WEI can help with our DevOps practice. We can help build and augment that machine learning operations pipeline to allow for that continuous improvement of models, which is obviously key for production AI, where you need to integrate new and stream in new data to keep the models accurate and keep the output from the models relevant to the current present time. So as you can see, there's a number of tools that are just splashed on the screen here. I won't go through each one, but I just kind of want to show this is a much smaller picture of what is a larger landscape of machine learning operations tools and AI frameworks and security and governance frameworks that are continually to pop up and emerge in this space. And so we at WEI were obviously constantly addressing and evaluating these solutions. But I do want to point out that what HPE has done with the HPE AI Essentials has really helped a lot to sort of narrow down that landscape and provide sort of a recipe for success in terms of all of the data engineering, data science tools, and giving you a pre-validated and supported architecture to take your AI projects from sort of your infancy into full adulthood and being able to scale along that same software platform. So like I mentioned at the beginning, this is sort of just a quick glimpse of what WEI is doing with AI. There is more to come, so I do encourage you to stay tuned, and I hope to be working with you soon on some exciting AI projects. So I'll kick it over to Mark now.
We'll look at the partnership model plays out, how the partnership plot plays out in a real world scenario, right? Insurance, which is one of the most regulated and risk sensitive industries, right? So we break the journey into 3 phases. We establish a secure foundation. Cyberify works with the client to define the AI opinion, craft what your 3-year strategy looks like, and enable visibility into AI usage, right? We also upskill internal teams to understand the unique risks tied to AI. So if you're like a lot of large organizations, you don't actually have that in place yet, we'll help you do that. As Matt was taking us through augmenting teams with specialized talent, WEI places those AI apprentices he was talking about to support early adoption and accelerate the internal buy-in of the organization. And we embed those AI security SMEs directly into the model development team so that privacy and integrity and compliance can be built in, not bolted on, right? So, and finally, with the HPE stuff that Jay was taking us through, the HPE deploys predefined AI reference architectures and end-to-end MLOps pipelines, right? Ensuring, you're compliant in your model delivery, right? And most importantly, they provide observability needed for scaling across AI, across the enterprise, right? So,
Mark,
yeah,
before we leave the slide, I just want to
yeah,
comment. This is not a hypothetical case here. You guys, we've done this. You guys have
yeah,
done this. We've done this. So this is real world use case, to be
yeah.
clear.
Yeah, thank you for that, Todd. Yeah, so
Yep.
you're going to run into your own version of this, and it may have some of this in it, and it may have totally different things in it, right? Based on what your organization actually needs. We wanted to show you that we've seen this, done this, and we are willing to work with you. Let's end where we started. There's no silver bullet, no single vendor, no one platform, no magic model that's going to get you there. True AI resilience and real enterprise value requires a coordinated, strategic, and cross-functional approach, right? So this is what we help our clients to do, right? We help you define your AI cybersecurity and infrastructure capabilities, right? So Cyberify and HPE and WEI will jointly assess where you are and where you want to go, right? We'll align AI to the business account outcomes that are particular to your organization. We'll identify the legacy and future stacks that need AI proofing, right? Because we talked about that legacy stuff that exists out there that can be difficult. We'll develop that trust framework for you to create trustworthy AI so that the information that you're getting out of those AI applications that you actually have are real and valuable and not based on hallucinations because of bad data or what have you, right? So we'll continue to help you adopt that of, from, and with AI posture, and then WEI will help you operationalize that through AI governance, right? And that brings us to the finish line, I think. AI resilience, innovation, and trust, not in conflict, but working in harmony.
I guess we are at the end of this discussion today, but I want to thank everyone who participated in this today. Obviously, the speakers, Jay and Mark and Paul and Matt, and also the people who joined online. Yeah, I always like to watch who joined how many people were here when we started, and how many people were at the end, and that number went down by one. So I think this was really, an important and timely topic here. But this is not meant to solve world hunger or world peace in one hour webinar. We want to have further discussions with you guys. So, reach out to us. I'm happy to broker conversations between you guys in WEI, you guys in Cyberify, you guys in HPE. That's what we're here for. This is our ecosystem. And again, I think as I pointed out in that last slide that Mark was talking to, this is not hypothetical. These are active solutions and active projects that we're all engaged with right now, and together we're a lot stronger than simply our organizations individually.